Hello?
Hello, Kindra. You're live on Freedomizer Radio on Hardtail News. Welcome to the show, and I'm glad you could join us.
Thank you. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. You got us in the #1 spot over here at BTR. I'd say with the size of the chat room, we probably have about 10,000 live, so it's going to be a big show, and you're going to get to tell your story here tonight. I know that wasn't the case with CNN and the rest of them, so it's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So let me run down for folks again real quick. Your husband, of course, is a fisherman, and he's currently working in the Gulf on the cleanup effort, right?
That is correct. His responsibilities are not with the cleanup. He's not cleaning up the oil. He has a supply boat and brings back, after dropping supplies, the oiled birds.
Oh, the oiled birds. Okay. Now,
That's part of it.
When we talked on the phone, we talked for about 45 minutes on the phone, and I talked a bit about the rumors down there about the spill down there, and a lot of folks want to know how bad it really is and what the situation on the beaches is.
Okay, for everyone who has this perception of the BP has spent millions on with this PR stuff that they've pulled, it's a big lie. As far as everything that they've said, the Gulf will bounce back, everything's going to be okay, they're taking care of the fishermen, they're doing everything that they can, all of it is a lie. They're not doing everything that they can. In fact, they are doing minimal efforts as far as the cleanup goes. It might look big, guys, but this is a big, big mess, to say the least. We don't refer to it as an oil spill anymore. We refer to it as an oil flood. We have birds, actually, that are on land that do not have oil on them, seagulls that are dying from eating these fish out of the water. I also have photographs just in of these bayous that have thousands of fish floating in the bayous. They're floating because they're dead. And there's not even any oil in these bayous. We have people who have went out and took test samples and sent them in to different labs across the country, and the toxicity levels are 120 times what a fish can live in. These tests that the EPA are doing on different species and controlled environments, which means in a canister for I think it's 72 or 96 hours. I'm not exactly sure on the hours of it. I'll have to look in my notes. But at any rate, if the heart beats once an hour, then they consider that okay. They have murdered the Gulf. Everything is dying or dead. People are breaking out in rashes. We're having people with upper respiratory problems, nosebleeds. We have one man we found who's bleeding from the rectum that got the water on him. Other people who are having severe asthma attacks. One woman went to wake her child up, and the little boy, 6.5 years old, was laying there in a puddle of blood from the nosebleed while he was sleeping. This is more serious than what anybody knows. I can't stress enough that I really think that the fact that they have not evacuated the women and children at the least. You know, I know men and the people on this response have to stay there and work on this, because if they don't, if they don't, it's going to go global. I think at this point they don't have any choice for it to go global with all the loop currents and everything that goes all over the world. But everything that they're doing is completely opposite of what needs to be done.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, because you've heard of the foreign countries. I think 14 foreign countries have offered aid to come in and help clean up the oil, and all of that's been refused. And you know, a lot of the blame, of course, is on the president. But we actually have a rule. We have a rule where natural disasters in America, we're not allowed to have outside help. But I think this disaster kind of transcends some petty piece of politics. They should allow all the help they can get. Explain for a moment, because to me they should have mobilized every able body to the beaches, to the water, everything they can do to get things cleaned up. And that's not necessarily the case, right? I mean, it looks like it when they show it on TV. There's always a bunch of people there cleaning up, but those are just isolated. Isn't that right?
it is definitely isolated areas where, you know, for instance, if you're in Grand Isle, Louisiana, you can actually get to the beach by a vehicle, by car. And just for instance, when Obama came down, they sent out busloads of responders in these white tie-back suits and the different, no respirators, always no respirators. And the guys burning it, no respirators. But at any rate, they sent out all these people, and they were all over the beach cleaning up. And I was on the phone with one of the girls who live in Grand Isle an hour and a half after Obama left. It wasn't even late in the evening, and she said that all of the guys were told to load back up on the buses, and they left. One incident that I've seen, well, there's been several incidents that I've seen for myself. On that same day, Obama was to fly over what's known as Barataria Bay, which is one of the largest areas of a bay inside of our estuary, behind the coastline, up in the wetland. And that morning, I was in the ops meeting. That was my first time being in the ops meeting down in Venice with all of the officials that are involved. And they deployed. They were running around like chickens with their heads cut off, guys. They deployed everything that they had on the ground. Now, the day before Obama came in for that tour, in Barataria Bay, I had fishermen reporting to me that there was minimal effort in Barataria Bay. The day that he came in, I flew over the same area before he flew over it. There was responders, boats, booms, suction boats, everywhere as far as the eye could see. The following day, I had certain fishermen go through that area and report back to me that 75 to 80% of the response that was there the day that Obama came in had disappeared. And that's one of the hardest hit areas in our estuaries. This has happened over and over again. Back in May, one of the days that our governor was supposed to come, was coming down there, we had went the day before because the oil was projected to hit the west side of our peninsula, which is where Barataria Bay is. And I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to go see just what's going on. The oil's projected to hit that side, to know its trajectory. So I'm going to take a ride in my boat, my dime, my time, and go see what's going on. So we went out of Red Pass, and we went 30 miles to Four Bayous, which is west. On that ride, not one response boat, not one piece of soft boom, not one piece of hard boom, and only 150 feet of sandbags that we found on that entire 30-mile ride. So
amazing.
The next day was when I went down to BP with the nautical map, and I walked into the BP Outreach Center, and I said, I want to see the boss in this building. Whoever he is, I want to see him right now. So a fellow named Mr. Jim come out, and we went to the back room, and I spread these nautical maps out on this big, huge table they have back there. And I started explaining to him that a lot of our coastline that hasn't been pumped in like everybody else's, I don't know why, but they haven't kept our coastline up in Louisiana at all. It's just been allowed to deteriorate. And I told him, I said, this is 2 foot, this is 3 foot, so on and so forth. This has a navigable waterway. This one doesn't. We can close this off. He says, well, everything has been deployed this morning. We understand that the oil is projected to hit that side, and it's hitting that side. This was on a Sunday. I said, okay, thank you. I was all excited. Now, this was before I was really, really involved and was seeing the bigger picture. I was involved but didn't understand the bigger picture. So at any rate,
let me ask you this real quick, because there's a lot of folks in the chat room that are asking about how you got involved. So before we move into the next section, most of our audience here has seen just about everything you've put out already, and they're just still pouring in. But there's a few folks asking, how did you come across the information? How did you get to be so intimately involved with BP? So let's put that in here real quick for folks, so they've got that covered.
I would like to clarify that for everyone. BP's not the ones that let me in. The Coast Guard did. The reason that they let me in, the only reason I can think is because they wanted the bigger picture out there. To be honest with you, that's how I feel about it. But I stood up on May 25th and spoke at a community town hall meeting. And when I spoke at that meeting, I had a list of questions, and I wasn't leaving until I got answers. Well, the EPA, basically I had them